Welcome to the 10 in a row Celtic Show. My name is Graham Wilson, and this is the fourth installment of the 10 in a row show. Joining me as always, the green and white writer, Mr. Paul Arkin. How are you, Paul?
How are you doing, you bow tie wearing motherfucker?
You have to
that's probably the biggest scandal that's ever engulfed this show.
Is it really?
Oh my! I mean, wearing a bow. Explain the bow tie, please, in one sentence or less.
Well, I mean, nobody else wears it, and it's stylish. It's listen. I spend most of my days eating my lunch in my car. I'm in my car all day, and I don't spill things on my tie anymore. And it's much easier to launder a shirt than it is a tie.
Jesus Christ! So now you just give all the listeners this image of you drooling like a fucking balloon, just sitting there stuffing your face and all that thing. Oh, let's not put this tie on because it needs to be a bow tie. Get with the program, man. It's not going to go down. It's not going to fly in this show. We want ties long and proud.
Okay.
Hello, dummy.
Okay, fine. You know,
maybe we can commission a special 10 in a row tie.
And we can sell it on the merchandisers and retailers of choice. You know, we can merchandise and pimp ourselves out with bow ties and necktie. Well, I mean, obviously it can't be bow ties, so it needs to be a long ass tie.
We could get Prolific and Shevchenko to model them and all that. I mean, this whole thing, it just writes itself. Anyway.
After the segment last week, I don't think Shevchenko is going to do anything for us, or especially not for me, but, you know, that's besides the point.
Yeah, well, are you going to pass comment on the threats that's been given to you since the last show?
Under advice from my attorney, I have been told not to comment at all, other than to say that these charges are absolutely, that have besmirched my reputation, are completely false, and I plan on seeing this through to the end to have my name cleared, and that's pretty much it. I don't know.
Nice to see my good friend Paul.
Yeah, nice to see you, Paul. Thank you very much, and thank you to the listeners for joining us once again. Let's fill everybody in on the format that we're following here. 10 in a row. We're going to have 10 topics that we're going to discuss, 5 minutes to discuss each topic, and at the end of said time, there will be a klaxon that you will hear, which will signify time is up and it's time to move on to the next topic. But before we also do that, let's throw out a disclaimer. There may be sweary words and adult situations may be discussed, so if you're in the company of underage Tims, turn off the show now and listen back later.
Was that no a thing you were going to actually record?
Well, I was, but you know, I like doing it on the fly.
Yeah, it means you forgot.
It means I don't feel it necessary. We can do this while we're talking. Well, and plus, I mean, I don't understand why you're complaining. I mean, it gives
I'm just asking.
It gives you another rod to beat me with. You love giving me stick, so here you go. You should be thanking me.
You stop talking about people beating their rods, please, and let's go.
Fantastic. So, first topic. The new strip was officially launched, the Celtic away strip. It's the start, the tartan design that it was leaked about a week ago, and we've all been exposed to it already. Gotten a glimpse of it, but now it is out. Paul, your thoughts on the rollout of the new away strip?
Yes. I'm just saying vote yes, and that's kind of, I thought it was a great antidote to the Union Jack push that Sefco brought out.
Yeah.
And let me say something now about this, because I mean, at the end of the day, there's only so much. I mean, I'm not going to be salivating about a new strip. I quite like it. Hopefully we'll get it if I save up for the next 3 months, but I'm certainly not going to be one of these people who will be queuing up at midnight or anything, because I've never understood that. But let me ask you this, and this is just incredible to me. Clearly, this was given precedence by certain celebrities, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later on, wearing this top. And I actually seen someone saying, how has these people got that top and I've not? And I'm thinking, mate, it's a big fucking picture. Look at it, But yeah, I mean, clearly there's been a thought process went into that in terms of the kind of slight tartan design. I wouldn't go as far to say it's a proper tartan design, nor should it be. But I mean, if the Irish national tartan's quite similar.
I was thinking the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'll be honest with you, I'm not really a huge strip wearer. The strips I wear are retro strips, which means I've just got this continuation of hooped strips for the 80s and so on and so forth. And I'm not going to go on and on about it. But I think a wee bit thought has went into it, and I also think that it's pretty decent. You know what I mean? It's a pretty decent shirt. And I suppose the only quibble I've got is I believe if you want to be a full kit wanker, you need to pay over £100.
Agreed. Yeah, and well, speaking of the full kit wanker, we did get an opportunity to see what the shorts are going to look like, as well as the socks. And I was thinking, obviously it looked more black, seeing it and up close and in the full variety, you see that it's more of a darker green, and that the shorts match that sort of darker green tint, which I quite like. I'm not going to go all full wanker on the deal, with that, but I think it's going to look absolutely magic, once we start seeing it. And like I said last week, with kit clashes and such, I'd love to see that one out there because, when we've seen away kits in the past, the black one is always a good sort of ulterior to the hoops when we do have a kit clash. I like the fact that it is the tartan. It does have a political sort of message to it. However, the way that the club presented it, I mean, first off, they had that steampunk design, which I thought was really cool. A club like no other, and they had the steam engine and the statue with the cone on its head. I thought that was fantastic. But some of the emails that the club sends out and the photoshopped pictures or whatever. I mean, history redefined was one of the messages that they put up. I mean, what the hell does that even mean? History redefined? I mean, why do we need to redefine our history?
I've absolutely no idea, but I must admit I get pissed off for the club emails as well on the basis that I keep getting emails asking me to buy a season ticket. And I'm like, I've been a season ticket holder for 25 fucking years. Like, can you surely define a system where you can target the people who actually don't have season tickets? But yeah, I mean, I guess with these things, I mean, I'm interested in your taking the kind of sporting institutions in America will not change their shirts, the Yankees, Red Sox, whoever it might be, and they're pretty expensive. But of course, the flip side of that is that you're buying that shirt, it can kind of last you a lifetime.
Absolutely,
it's not going to hang. I mean, and so it's kind of good that we have the hoops and so on and so forth, but. I think it's always a hit winner to get these shirts out as soon as possible, because obviously people now, this is kind of holiday season and all that kind of thing, and people just buy this stuff. This is exactly what they want. They want to have the colours on holiday and represent club and all that kind of thing, represent themselves. But touching on the full kit wanker, I mean, could you ever actually see yourself being a full kit wanker?
Oh, absolutely. I full kit wank all the time. I mean, obviously not out in public, but I like full kit wanking, like in the comfort of my own home. I mean, I don't mind if my wife sees me full kit wanking. She doesn't really care, and I think the only full kit wanking I can possibly do is with the I guess it was the 2009-2010 season when we had the tartan shorts, with the bit of the tartan. Thing on the shoulder, and then I full kit wank at Halloween because I have the long wig with the beard, so I can kind of do the Sammy take on it, but I can't do that anymore, so I need to find.
Well, I was just going to say when you're full kit wanking, is there a player on your back?
No, I keep my back completely clear.
It's a completely solo pursuit.
Absolutely, I'm a one-way wanker.
Okay.
Next topic, Celebrity Celts. Speaking of the kit launch, I mean, what a buzz that came about this week when it was announced that the new away strip was going to be this tartan design. All of a sudden, we saw images of the cast from 24 wearing the strip. I mean, unbelievable amount of marketing, exposure. Paul, your thoughts? Celebrity Celts, well, who are some of the Celebrity Celts that really stick out in your mind?
Well, I mean, first of all, hats off to Ross McCall because that was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I sent that photo everywhere I could, anywhere I could.
Yes.
Sent it to people in America who didn't have any clue about Celtic, and they were just like, holy shit, and it was absolutely brilliant. And I think anybody who has the wee bit time and the wee bit savvy to come up and do something like that, should always be welcome at Celtic Park.
Absolutely.
So that was fantastic because that went viral, and I must actually just tell you a quick Kiefer Sutherland story, though. I actually had the pleasure of throwing him out a bar one night in New York. And quick story, it was 3 years ago, Perfect Pint bar. And he was in a play at the time with Jason Patrick called That Championship Season on Broadway. and it was Jason Patrick was in Whale in the bar. And I was talking to Jason Patrick, and he was telling me, which I didn't even realise, that it was his father who was the priest in The Exorcist. That played Damien Kaz. I never knew that. So I was kind of like, oh my God, and talking about, that kind of thing. Because I have to be honest, like, I couldn't at that time remember anything Jason Patrick had been in to then say, oh, what about this or what about that? Apart from Sleepers with De Niro and stuff like that. And so Kiefer was there, and he was fucking steaming, right? And he kept lighting up cigarettes, which of course everybody knows in a bar you can't. So he had kind of got in on the premise that I'll no misbehave, and he just kept fucking going on and lighting up cigarettes and that kind of thing. And so he kind of got asked to leave, and he was like, "Oh, no problem," that kind of thing. I'm really, really sorry and all that. And he's trying to offer money, like, no. And that was fine, and then he left, and we thought that was fine, and the next thing he just took a run at the bouncer and tried to attack him. Which was quite funny. And then Jason Patrick had a couple of other guy for the cast, I think it was Jim Gaffigan, I think his name is, so he ushered him out, and they were trying to throw money. I said, whatever, but that was a Kiefer Sutherland. But having said that, let's face it, Kiefer Sutherland's not going to be the only guy in that top that behaves like that, Graham. Boom, boom. Celebrity sales. I like the celebrity sales who actually understand the club. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your obvious Rod Stewart and Billy Connolly. I mean, Rod Stewart himself, he's just a walking PR machine for Celtic. You know
no
what
question.
I mean? He doesn't give a fuck.
He's in concerts, kicking balls out into the crowd. He wears the Celtic strip. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and Billy Connolly, he's somebody who grew up with the club, he understands the club, and even extending to people like Noel Gallagher and people like that. They understand. They used to come to games before they were famous. I know the bus used to go on in Prestwick and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And these people are fantastic because they kind of understand the club, and it just sort of it kind of captures the magic of Celtic. Your Man Uniteds and Liverpool will attract all these hangers on and all that just appear at these games and blah blah blah. But with Celtic, when these guys come and all that, and you see those they play, you've seen Robbie Keane, that kind of thing, Jamie Duff, Jay Given, people like that come up. They understand Celtic, they understand the club, and the other one obviously in recent terms has been Gerard Butler, although I just think we missed a huge trick on that, because why did we know when he came up for that game, get him on the pitch with a microphone, record it, just saying, "This is Celtic,"
That would be magic.
Full fucking voice, and every single time a team walked out that tunnel, you play that over the tannoy, boom.
Definitely.
But what's your take?
Well, I'm so glad you brought up, the players, because it does seem consistently to have, this element of players from abroad that have a soft spot for Celtic. To throw another name out in addition to the one that you mentioned, Wayne Rooney, has been at Celtic Park, and he's tweeted out his preferences and so on and so forth. Rio Ferdinand mentioned that growing up he was he was hugely influenced by Paul McStay. Obviously with their match coming up in September, it's going to be brilliant. Rod Stewart. The image that I always have of Rod Stewart in my mind, and probably always will, with regard to Celtic, was him just bubbling up, at the Barcelona game. How much more can you possibly identify and endear yourself to the supporters? It's absolutely superb. You talk about the supporters that the people that come out and they support Celtic, and that they know the history of the club. Obviously we had sort of a cup of coffee with Snoop Dogg a couple of years ago. I'm not sure, if he'd know, a right back from a half back from a fullback, but
well, he's another one that'll never get over Samaras leaving, because you remember Samaras was his favourite player.
That's right.
So maybe he's boycotting the club since he's been left.
Maybe he's taking a sorrowful walk through Bishop Briggs at the moment with somebody else we know. But be that as it may, Ross McCall, we have to get back to him. This is you bring up Gerard Butler, and yes, he's a huge Celtic supporter, but Ross McCall always comes up. he's the one that's responsible for getting Jennifer Love Hewitt into Celtic, and of course we've always seen that YouTube clip of Jennifer Love Hewitt on the Ross Ferguson, Craig Ferguson show. Thank you, Partick Thistle fan. talking about Celtic on the show, and she, became a supporter because of Ross McCall. Ross McCall comes off like the one of us, where everybody that they meet, who's not even into football, they tell them about Celtic, about the history, whatever, and they're always just trying to get everybody they run into to support Celtic, and it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, this is a perfect embodiment, what he did with the 24 cast and all that, and I just, the other thing that was striking and impressive to me is it didn't come off of like grandstanding at all. It came off like when you saw that, you thought, that's exactly what I'd do if I was in that position, Like, he's just enthusiastic about the club, and he loves it, and, you just have to love that enthusiasm.
Yeah, I mean, I've met a few, semi people, like, I mean, one of the ones I've met great was in New York was David O'Hara, and I mean, the name might not strike out right away, but he played Fitzy in The Departed. And he's an actor that's appeared, and he was in Made Men with John Favreau and all that kind of thing. Yeah. And comes to Glasgow, absolute Celtic. He stays in Los Angeles, absolute Celtic through and through. And he did that as well. He said, he's every time he meets a celebrity, he always talks about Celtic. Yeah. You've obviously got Michael Caton-Jones, who's a director, done Rob Roy, done the film with Robert De Niro and Frances McDormand, which name escapes me, but it's in New York, and there's a scene on it where he's on a subway, and Michael Caton-Jones has a cameo, and he's wearing a Celtic baseball cap on it. And that's, to me, is exactly what it's all about. They are the reasons, because that's the way. I mean, it was interesting. You talk about the Jennifer Love Hewitt interview with Craig Ferguson. I thought it was absolutely brilliant that she said to him, "Well, you'll clearly be for the other side," and now that's just because his name's Ferguson,
right?
So that's clearly, because I think Ross McCall's father, I might be wrong here, runs the club in Los Angeles. I think the CSC in Los Angeles. So yeah, I mean, they're clearly on the wall, and more power to them, because I mean, that was, these photographs are worth thousands of sales.
Oh, no question.
You have your million emails and tweets for the club and all that, right, all the rest of it. Boom, there's your sales pitch right there. Cassie 24, worldwide show, huge actors, and happy to have the colours on.
No question. Next topic. Celtic are holding a series of summer camps for kids, not for adults, all across Ireland, and they're even coming to America. Paul, is this a good extension of the club to try and grow the brand and to maybe highlight or pick up on the stars of the future?
Well, I mean, look, anything that sort of spreads the net further and wide is good for me. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, it's obvious that people are going to be paying for their kids to be coached by coaches of Celtic, and let's not beat about the bush here. If there's anybody who's good enough, we're going to cream that talent right off, aren't we? I mean, that's kind of surely the point. But to me, it's like anything. If you're providing services for the kids, and parents get involved and all that kind of thing, then you can get them for life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the people we want to be out there kind of spread the message and put, this is because, we're relatives to America over this week, and we're talking about, soccer and acid, and it's hugely participated in sport in America, as you know, Graham.
Yeah.
And this is where we can make inroads, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, we have this whole thing with these camps and stuff like that, but we have this whole corporate fucking horrible thing with Man City, with club in Australia and club in New York, just horrendous, just everything that football should be about. And you've got a club that's growing up for the green like the New York Cosmos, which is absolutely ram-packed with Celtic fans. Mm-hmm. You get in the tie-ins. Similarly, obviously they've got the camps in Philadelphia in August. From my experience, going to Philadelphia, I mean, obviously you'll know a lot more of me, but I mean, there's a Celtic heartland.
No question.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, and I didn't mean this in a bad way at all, but it kind of lives in the shadow of New York in that sense. Everybody goes to New York,
no,
and everybody, right. It's holiday in New York, that kind of thing.
You're absolutely right.
You go to Philadelphia, and fucking hell, man, it's like everybody you meet. And I love nothing more than listening to guys, American accents and that, talking as passionately about Celtic as I do. Talking, people like Fitzy and all that kind of thing. Absolute fucking neighbourhood, Stonewall guys, stand-up guys, bang, and they're Celtic through and through. So anything that fucking keeps that kind of fire lit is great for me as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no question about it. I like the fact that the club, I had a bit of a debate with a local reporter, a journalist from the Philadelphia Inquirer, the paper of record for the Philadelphia area specifically, and he immediately was skeptical about the idea, just the thought that Celtic is going to come over and conduct one of these camps, and here's just another money grab from one of these European clubs. But I mean, at the end of the day, what harm is it doing? And checking in with it, relatively speaking, the camps that Celtic, and I have to tip my cap and I have to hold my hands up and give praise where it's due. The camps that Celtic are running here in the States, checking in the prices, they're quite reasonable, compared to not just the European clubs that come over here. I mean, you see constantly, the Chelsea's, Man United's, Liverpool's come over, even Barcelona coming over and doing similar things, conducting, week-long camps with kids from 8 years old to 13, 14 years old. And, it can run in the $400 to $500 range, not just the European clubs, but also the local clubs. I mean, Philadelphia Union and the MLS, I mean, who knows what kind of coaching is available through that model or that outfit, but they're running, in the range of $500 to $600. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for a family, especially when you have multiple kids that want to take part in this. Yeah. I believe the Celtic camp is only going for, I believe it's $85 to $95, which, I mean, on the overall grand scheme of things, is much, much more reasonable, especially when you consider, it's going to be training over the course of the week. It seems as though Celtic is quite, motivated and committed to this, which is really great to see. I mean, we complain so much, and I know that I'm probably more vocal or just as vocal as anybody that, Celtic sort of ignores America, but this is a great gesture, and I appreciate this very much. The fact that, even in spite of the fact that, yes, maybe it is a money grab, but so what? The kids that are going to show up to these camps, they're going to be introduced to Celtic if they haven't been before. If they have been introduced to Celtic, they're going to be a part of the experience. They're going to feel like they're part of Celtic. It's going to be, a memory for them that they're going to go back to school in the autumn and tell their friends about and spread the word about. So I just don't see any negatives.
Well, I mean, look, the bottom line is, whether we like it or not, everything in America costs money. Simple as that. Right. And I know through experience, my friends, kids over there and stuff, I mean, they go and do all sorts of things, lacrosse training and different things like that. And everything costs money, So it's as simple as that. This is, to me, one of these things where it's like, I didn't see Celtic going over there putting a gun to anybody's head and saying, you must do this.
No.
So it's a choice, what I mean? Simple as that. Now, the onus is on Celtic and the coaches involved to make it a success,
right.
So that's a good thing. So it's not like they're just going over there half-assed saying, well, because if it's a success then you keep it going, you build them up and you get bigger and better. And to me, like America, and I'm talking in terms of the players, is still an untapped resource for Celtic Football Club, in the sense that if you have all these guys playing this sport, then we should have a presence there. Do you know what I mean? Because we can pick these guys up at an early age and all that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And it just doesn't make any sense for us not to be that, because it's. I do think American players, the kind of style, the work ethic and all that kind of thing would suit Scottish football a lot. And similarly, how you could further sort of increase your chances is if you have guys who are actually coaching these youngsters with the Celtic way and trying to coach the kind of Celtic way of playing football in them, then surely, as you say, it's a no-brainer and everybody's a winner.
Yeah, no question about it. And you mentioned, the sort of American style of play, which I think is yet to be determined. There's certainly evolving, but anytime that you can have some sort of influence that's going to come in and emphasize technique and really encourage the kids to not just, go to these sort of organized travel teams as we have over here, but play, play a pickup game, in the park or, on a basketball court or something, and, play against your friends, and don't be afraid to learn new things, to try new things and to express yourself, to use that term that I hate so much, but be creative and have some bravery. Don't be afraid to try new things. And that's really something that, it's going to develop players. It's something that is contagious, can spread throughout, and I think everybody benefits from it.
Yeah, I mean, look, when I watched MLS live games and stuff like that, the thing I noticed time and time again is with American players is that they will bust their ass for you for 90 minutes, 100%. What was needed was a football brain. They needed to be a wee bit, and I didn't mean that, but they needed to be just a wee bit cuter.
It is so true.
Win football matches.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of why. I mean, Thierry Henry was done about 8 years ago, but still carves out a career on the basis that he understands football. He understands the runs he needs to make and the runs he doesn't have to make, and it's just these kind. But that just gets bred down generations, and that's kind of coming for. It will come for European and South American coaches. Do you know what I mean? They'll understand how to win games better. So, but to me, it's like some people will find an excuse to attack anything. I mean, let's not even attack the idea before it's even been implemented, you know?
Right, exactly. Let's give it a chance, see how it's implemented and how it's followed up on, and then we can assess it. But the idea, in my mind, in principle, and from an idealistic standpoint, I think is a good one, and I hope it's successful. Next topic. Ben Pringle is one of the we're already into transfer season or certainly going to be doing some transfer rumors and prospecting. Ben Pringle is a midfielder from Rotterdam, and it seems as though he's on our radar. Paul, how many midfielders does this club possibly need?
Well, who knows? It's probably not a case of quantity, it's probably quality, because clearly your man Dial has got a style that he wants to implement, and he might have been targeting and identifying players already who are going to fit in with that style, and perhaps is already aware of the fact that there might be one or two at Celtic Park right now who might not fit into that style.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But didn't know much about the guy Pringle. Didn't mind his crisps, but apart from that, I mean, look. It's kind of everything's went a wee bit quiet now. I mean, Christ Almighty, it actually came to head with me. We actually been Hearts are signing players, for Christ's sake.
James Keatings, look at what happened there.
Aye. That was a nice wee unfollow the day when I seen that fucking story. So I mean, you kind of like everything. I mean, we're not even linked to any players,
right?
You know, and so that's kind of weird, and you sort of wonder. You know, what is the strategy going to be here? Are we kind of going to be concentrating on keeping players, or are we going to shift one or two, bring in one or two? Nobody seems to know. But I tell you, it's the World Cup's a nice distraction for that. But I tell you what, it'll not be very long before people will be saying, "Hold it a minute here," because I think the Champions League's like two weeks away, and it'll not be long before people are saying, "Hold it a minute here. Are we going to sign players? We've got to do this, do that, next thing." In terms of midfielders, I mean, we are particularly strong in that department, but at the end of the day, Graham, you can't have enough good players.
No, that's true, and I think that at the end of the there's a lot of things at play here. We have a new manager coming in, and he's barely got his feet on the ground before now all of a sudden we're rumored to be in for new players. Who knows what's going on with the Craig Gordon situation? Be that as may, and put that one to the side. I think that what's going to be particularly revealing, not just over this transfer window, but in the next couple of transfer windows, is noticing patterns and seeing any sort of differences if there are any, and also picking up on similarities so that we can have a better understanding of what is actually taking place behind the scenes. Is the manager having any sort of input, or is the manager going to have some sort of finality or final input into the players that are coming in and out? Because as we remember from the Lennon regime, we were always looking at midfielders. I mean, it was one midfielder after another. Now, granted, there's definitely going to be some players that are currently on the Celtic team sheet or the Celtic roster that are going to be gone in 3 to 4 weeks' time. No question about it. But but the thing that I'm curious about and I'm going to be paying attention to is, are we going to go down this same similar road where it's one midfielder after another? Is it going to be sort of the same type of profile that we're going after? Now, if it's going to be a bunch of Wanyamas in a row, then fair fucks to you. I hope that's sort of going to be the mold. But we still are Lee Griffiths aside, we still do need a striker. We need a clinical finishing striker that's going to give us that wee bit extra, that's going to get us into the Champions League, and it's going to have us contend and compete again. And how much is Ronnie Dyla going to impose himself to get that, or to? I mean, you bring up the fact that hot on the heels of the World Cup, and not even before the World Cup even ends, people are going to be thinking about well, what are we doing here? I mean, we do have a grace period where the manager's relatively new, so let's let him catch his breath. But you're right. I mean, those Champions League qualifiers are coming up soon, and we're going to be starting to wonder, what is our philosophy going to be? What is our mentality going to be? We're probably not going to have much in the way of answers leading up to it. It's going to lead to some anxiety, and people are going to be asking questions.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know for a fact that what Ronnie Dyla has been doing in the last week is he's gone through every game on DVD and looking at games that we played. But at the end of the day, there's only so much you can tell for that. You've got to actually give the man a chance to actually see the players in the flesh. And I believe the players are only back until the 22nd or 25th of June, something like that. So, there's not really much you can do. And at the end of the day here, I mean, listen, this is no Neil Lennon 2010 with a Tony Mowbray type situation where you need to gut a team and bring a new one in. There's a pretty decent team there right now. And clearly what Dyler's going to try and... What his job is going to be is managing how to get his system that he wants to play into that team without it fucking up the Champions League qualifiers. So you have to make the call, do you actually try that, or do you actually kind of say, you know what, let's just do what they know until we get through and then we'll start to build. Added to the fact that we've still not got a backroom staff team in there, which, I've got to say I wouldn't say it goes far to say it concerns me, Graham, but I'm a bit baffled as to why that isn't taking place. And I know the Craig Gordon thing. I mean, I know for a fact that Celtic blew Hearts out the water with their contract offer. So I don't know why that's not been signed or whatever. Or maybe Peter Walls just says to Craig Gordon, listen, there's a contract, but you're not signing it till July, and that'll save us a few quid till then. Who knows? But I would like to see the management team going into place, and then the Heats getting knocked together, and then because I've heard so much rubbish. I mean, everybody seems to have this thing where it's like anybody who gets linked with Celtic, where it's a player as his manager, they get written off instantly. And I even heard somebody saying, "Oh, John Collins. I mean, what's his experience in Scottish football recently?" Well, he was a director of football at Livingston for a few years, and now he's been coaching Scotland for the last year now. And it's just like simple wee things, but I'd like to see the management team getting in place, not Heats get knocked together. Then they start identifying transfer targets, and then they start implementing their ideas and skills to the players, and hopefully, we can start to see. But at the end of the day, to me, Ronnie Dyler should be judged. He shouldn't even be considered to be judged till at least after 2 transfer windows.
Next topic, Paul. The World Cup has started, and it has, and I can't be any more delighted. I am over the moon with it. Yes, I'm very happy. First topic I want to talk about with the World Cup, Brazil. Is it even possible that a Brazil side could be so unlikable at a World Cup being played in Brazil? Is it possible?
Yeah, I think it is. I think they have one of the, you have one of those loathsome fucking individuals playing for them in a long, long time, and Neymar, who just, well, let's face it, the guy's a cheat, end of story. Secondly, they're playing a style of football under Phil Scolari, which is what he does.
Right.
This is his style.
Exactly.
But it's as un-Brazil-like as you could possibly get. Look, I watched the game this morning because, I was in an alcoholic haze the day before. So, I watched the game, and Brazil look absolutely dreadful.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no getting away from it. They look absolutely dreadful. They're playing against a Croatia team that Scotland beat home and away. A Croatia team which has got Jelavic up front looking like Gerd Muller against that Brazil defence.
He certainly did.
You've got Brazil playing Fred, they've got Hulk just trying to bully players and all that kind of thing. And you know what? It might work. And it might, when they play a team like maybe like a Germany or Argentina, that kind of style might actually work. But it's certainly not going to entertain you, and it's certainly not the silky skills that we're coming to know. And it's actually weird. I mean, it shows you the expectations of Brazil. It's kind of like they're looking at this team in this tournament because it's in their home country to take them out the doldrums because they've not won a World Cup now for 12 years, And it's just like, aye, right, fine. But certainly, when you reel off the names, right back for your Pelés and Garrinchas and Jairzinhos and Zicos and Ronaldos and Romarios and all that, how many of the names are you going to be reeling off for this team in the next 10 years?
Probably not many. And you know, the first name that I want to pick up on that you pointed out is Neymar. I mean, the shame of it is he is a diving, cheating prick.
Yeah,
no question about it. He's insufferable. I mean, he's just unlikable. It's impossible to like him. And the shame of it is he's so technically gifted. I mean, you can see it, you know, when he has the ball at his feet. I mean, he's capable of such amazing things, but he dives. And his first thought is dive. Let me get on the ground. You know, and it's just shameful. I mean, it goes against the whole concept of attractive football, of the spirit of beauty. I mean, it's disgraceful. It's cynical, and it's frustrating, you know, because he could be capable of such great things. You know, there's several things about this Brazil side that I think are definitely worrying. If I'm a Brazil fan, you know, you have players that, you know, they're playing in Big Phil's system, and I don't think that they're quite sort of suited or used to playing this particular style. I mean, you talk about the center halves. Thiago Silva is probably, in my opinion, he's the best center half on the face of the planet, and yesterday he looked absolutely ordinary. Now, it's not going to help him playing next to David Luiz. You know, obviously we know that, but David Luiz, as we know from watching him play for Chelsea, he has more of a tendency to stay central and to push more up the middle of the park. Well, Big Phil has him spread way out wide, you know, to cover the fullbacks. He's got the fullbacks bombing up, and then, you know, who do you have tracking back, you know, to try and cover space? I mean, you know, so much lazy tracking back to cover that middle of the park. And when you're going up against the side like Croatia, that's going to use those flanks and has strikers in the middle that are adept in the air, bringing the ball down, and are going to, you know, be clinical and finishing, you're going to have some problems. They can't be lazy tracking back. I mean, asking a player like Oscar to track back through the middle of the park, that's not what he's suited for. So, you know, these sorts of things can definitely be, you know, troublesome for a Brazil side that I mean, everybody's pipping to win the thing, but I mean, you know, come to the final 16, the quarterfinals, the semifinals. I mean, they're going to go up against the side that's going to be able to exploit this.
Yeah, I mean, look, the goal they conceded last night was, you wouldn't see that in a fucking pub league. I mean, Jesus Christ, how many chances do you want to actually clear the ball?
Yeah,
you know, and you've got the goalie standing there, the defender standing there, and then the boy's like, "Oh, what did I do?" So he just knocks it in. You know, it's fucking pathetic. Added to the fact that, let's face it, I mean, the referee fucking helped him out big time.
Awful,
big time. I mean, if that's a penalty, just give up. I mean, your man, the Croatian manager, says he's well be playing basketball. You know, I mean, that's how ridiculous.
And he's justified in his comments.
Yeah, and he has. And you know, you analyse the game, and he's 100% right. Brazil got absolutely everything last night.
Yep.
You know, and it's kind of like, do you know what, on a slight tangent, like, I've got to say this, and we've talked about it in Scotland forever, and let's put that to one side just for park it for a minute. The fucking stench of corruption coming out of FIFA and World Cups and that is actually killing football. You know, you're sitting there watching fucking this and all that kind of thing, and then, you know, you camera cuts. Oh, there's Michel Platini sitting there looking fucking disinterested as usual, and it's just like, you know what? Fuck, this is fucking scandalous. You're the ex-player. You should be the guy that's turned around and saying, this is absolutely pathetic. We need to fucking rid these fucking idiots for the game. But oh no, we've got fucking Blatter swanning about, like, saying, no, my votes are
Thank you for your question, lady.
Done, people didn't actually understand how untouchable Blatter is. Blatter spread the wealth around all the people that he needs to vote for him.
Oh, exactly.
And they're just like that. They're in kickback city, because it's like, keep him in, the money keeps rolling in, everybody's happy. And then you get guys who are clearly corrupt lecturing you on corruption. It's just like, fucking hell. You know, it was like Tony Soprano giving a seminar on moral fibre. It's just like, so, and to me it extends to people like Neymar, who they're just loathsome people. Suarez is exactly the same.
Exactly.
You know, he's just a fucking cheat, and I hate these kind of players who's like, I don't mind anybody who wants to win, you know. I love it. That's what I want in my team, you know. But for Christ's sake, look at the ability.
Right,
you know,
right.
Look at the skills that you've already got. But you're just loathsome people, and you know, just the stench of it. And I think that what we need is, in this tournament more than anything, is we're looking at Brazil and that to be this kind of, you know, the moral fibre of football and all that in the heavenly scene. And you take one look at them, you're thinking, Christ, it's not going to be this team.
Yeah. No, definitely not. And the thing that I'm also struck by, you bring up the fact that Neymar and Suarez is a great example as well. That they're exceptional to watch at times, and like I said before, it's frustrating, to see them have such a cynical approach to the game. And then you have these pundits saying, "Oh, well, the right to do it, because if you go down in the box, you have to do that so that you can help your team win." No, I'm sorry, I'm not having that. That's not in the spirit of the game. That's not what makes the game. That's not what makes the game special. It brings on cynicism from everybody watching, and at the end of the day, it breaks the game down. It doesn't help the game grow. And to your point as well with regard to the administration within FIFA, clearly there's no concept or there's no priority in terms of what's best for the game. It's all about what's best for their own particular standing. Seeing what Blatter's going through right now, trying to save his own ass so that he can get through another term, completely at the cost and at the detriment of the game of football itself, is absolutely nauseating. The sooner that he can be gone, the better, in my opinion.
I tell you another thing as well. Right, there was all the we brought up on the show last week. You brought up yourself about the stadiums and is this the World Cup going to be ready? And blah. Listen, they would say, "Oh no, everything's going to be fine, everything's going to be fine." Aye, that's fine. How come the only game that's been actually full was the Brazil game? How is there looking loads of empty seats at all the rest of the games? The fucking country is football mad, and it's massive.
Yeah.
So they've clearly priced out the ordinary people on the streets. But again, they couldn't give a toss. The corporate people will be paying their wages and everything's fine.
Yeah, exactly. And in addition to that, we pointed out the state of the pitches. We had a game played today that the fire department did not clear as safe. It was, the stadium, was obviously rumored to have issues, et cetera, and the fire department within the town in Brazil said, if something happens, FIFA, you're on your own, and they played the game anyway. It's absolutely disgraceful. Mm-hmm. Next topic, speaking of the keeper from yesterday's game, Brazil versus Croatia, Steve Pleticosa, a name that may be familiar to some. Was Lenny onto something when he let him go? We had him in for a trial for a couple of games. He kept a clean sheet, I believe, against Cardiff. It didn't seem like he put a foot wrong. And then he was immediately dismissed, and he came out afterward and said, he had some comments like he didn't understand why he was let go. Was Lenny onto something by letting him go?
Well, it's funny you actually mentioned it because I was in Ireland just at the seeing good friend of his Connor, and he had put a bet on Croatia to win the game on the basis that you have all these normal upsets and opening games and so on and so forth. And I just actually said about Pleticos, I said, well, what's happening to him now? And it was kind of like, oh, there's your man there, like, he was pretty dreadful. But I think it's the Celtic tradition. We have lots of the great traditions. We were formed to feed and clothe the poor immigrant Irish. We've got the Celtic way of playing football, and we've got the tradition of bringing in 1 million players a year on trial.
Yeah, no question about it. I don't know much about the Russian league, of which where he's playing just now, Steve Pleticosa. But what I saw from yesterday, on all three of the goals that were scored, including the penalty. He had the hand on the ball.
Jesus.
His paper wrists, just let the ball go right through it. And his movement, side to side, Neymar scuffs the ball, and he has absolutely no movement. I was surprised to see I was surprised there wasn't more criticism of, his responsibility for that. Now, obviously, the defending made an absolute bomb scare of it. But, you think of, any just sort of, merely adequate keepers, they should have had a hand on it. And with the third goal as well. So, it's a tough one for Croatia. I think that Croatia, they have the ability to punch above their weight, but I have serious questions as to, if they can get out of this group, which is questionable, how far they could possibly go. You need a steady, solid keeper, and Pleticosa just isn't filling me with a lot of confidence there.
Yeah, listen, I think it shows again how important the goalkeeping position is. I've been watching Celtic for 40 years now, and I've probably seen 3 top goalies in that time. Paki Bonner, who could make mistakes, but probably for between 88 and 90 was probably the best keeper, certainly in Europe. Arthur Boric, who was capable of just some madness, but of course, Big Fraser.
Yeah.
But apart from that, there was Javier Sanchez Broto was there for 6 months, had no bad few games. Apart from that, none of the rest of them would bother me if they'd never played for Celtic ever. You know what I mean? So And it kind of shows you again where it's here's a guy who's Croatian international list. He's playing in Brazil against Brazil in the World Cup, and he has an absolute mare. Yet, you know, people would be clamouring to have signed him. Certainly, before we would want to sign Fraser Forster at the time. So you just never know. But yeah, I mean, it just kind of. You know, when you see the penalty, that was as bad as it gets. I mean, if you're his goalie coach, you'd just be like, oh, for fuck's sake, you know, just shoot me now, because, you know, the manager's going to be absolute. I mean, I always remember Sander Westerveld that played for Liverpool. He made a mistake at Bolton for Liverpool, and Gerard Houllier just basically got rid of him the next day. One mistake. Sorry, if you're, one of the ones where it hits off him, the guy just taps it in for the winner. Yeah. And that's it, you know what I mean? It's kind of like you're training every single day not to make any mistakes, and but certainly no, your man. So Neil Lennon was right on that one, I'd say.
Absolutely. I mean, chocolate wrist. I mean, the first thing I thought of was where the fuck is Dominic Servi right now? But
where is Dominic Servi right now?
I think
I thought he was modelling in a pair of Speedos.
Well, yeah, and with that, I mean, listen. Anybody that makes my gigantic set of choppers blush, the humongous teeth, beautiful white teeth that he has on him. I think he's, I don't know, maybe skateboarding through the streets of Tulsa. At the moment, he hasn't caught on with.
I think his downfall was at Brockville, and I'll tell you exactly the scenario. I was standing, I think I was picking up tickets or so I can't know what it was, and a team bus came in, and they're going in, and there was a wee guy there getting autographs, and 2 or 3 of them stopped, and Servi stopped. And he go to Servi, and the wee boy just turned away and walked away before he'd even could get Servi's autograph. And then Servi had to do that thing where he had to pretend that he wasn't, standing there to give the boy's autograph. Like, you know what I mean? But no, I've no idea. I mean, because maybe starting appealing the show. Where is Dominic Servi? So surely somebody out there must know.
Any of our listeners in Oklahoma, or specifically in the Tulsa metro area, if you can spot Dominic Servi and let him know that we're thinking about him and we're worried about him, if you can check in with us, that'd be great. Next topic. World Cup 2022 in Qatar, or whatever other way that I've heard it pronounced. Much trepidation about how they potentially got their bid. Was there some bribery associated? Was there some corruption? Who would have ever think that a FIFA appointment, such as this, would be embroiled in corruption claims? But it seems to have happened. It seems to be gaining momentum and traction to the point where, you mentioned before, who really has the power in these events? It's the sponsors, and the sponsors are stepping up. They're asking questions, and long may it last. It's finally fantastic that they're doing this. I mean, and the sad part of it is that they're not asking questions about the working conditions in Qatar, which are absolutely barbaric and embarrassing, but they're asking it about the corruption that's associated with it. Either way, there's been some rumors in this past week that the venue may be changed to a different country. Paul, what are some countries that you would like to see it move to?
Well, first of all, I think that in terms of actual Qatar, I think a lot of this has got to do with the fact that the Premiership's putting big pressure on FIFA with this, because it's obvious that they just could not play in Qatar in the summer, because it's just too hot. And so they're like, well, fine, we'll just play it in the winter then. And the Premiership's like, aye, that will be right, you know what I mean? So I think they're putting pressure on that kind of thing, because sponsors, they'll be saying, the corruption and all this kind of thing. The sponsor will be asking one question: are we going to make a lot of money out of this?
Right.
Simple as that, right?
Yep.
In terms of countries, it should go, if it actually goes, then to me, there's only one country, it should be America, and I'll tell you why. In 1994, America was not ready to host the World Cup. Diana Ross proved that in the opening ceremony.
Very good
now,
point.
It is absolutely 100% ready. And I, for the life of me, do not understand why it wasn't even quoted in the voting in terms of, I know it was what to get there, in terms of the next 2 World Cups, because it's absolutely ripe and ready. The stadiums are there, the supporters are there, the television coverage is there, everything's there. It's ready to go. That's somewhere that we should definitely go. If it isn't going to go there, then listen, bring it to Scotland. We've got the stadiums, we've got the fan base. Listen, we might even demolish Hampden. At last, the SCT might be actually listening.
Thankfully.
We might go. So, bring it to somewhere that's football mad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Forget all this fucking FIFA pish about trying to open up new markets and all that kind of thing. I mean, the way FIFA are going, I'm expecting to see a World Cup in the North Pole. It's like, well, we could get some stuff up there, and Coca-Cola are going to sponsor planes and boats to go there and all that kind of thing, and we'll have the Captain Scott Memorial fucking before it, and it's just like nobody fucking cares. I mean, they just. It's in Brazil, right?
Yeah.
And that means for Americans, it's fantastic. Your time zone's great.
It's perfect.
For our time zone, it's kind of tough, and it's especially tough tomorrow. You got a 2 o'clock in the morning. But listen, everybody on Twitter's talking about it. Everybody I know is watching it. We love football. We'll watch the World Cup, whether we like it or not. International football, we want to watch it. It's wall-to-wall football and that kind of thing. That's what it's all about. The people who watch it, the people who... I mean, for once, we become the armchair fans. You know what I mean? And yet it's amazing because when we didn't become the armchair fans, it's when they actually didn't bother catering for us. It's just like, we just need to keep the FIFA family happy.
Yeah.
Fuck the FIFA family. It's just I mean, Christ almighty, it makes the fucking Gambino family look like the fucking family in Mary Poppins, for Christ's sake. It's just like, aye, right, whatever. So to me, America is the obvious one, and I'm not just saying big. I mean, America to me, it's long overdue because, as I said, in '94, they didn't understand it, and we have to go through these wanky fucking things where it's like, do you know the World Cup's on? And they go, what's that? The tractor pull? Or, fuck off, man. You know what I mean? It's like, aye, fine. Aye, let's throw a rock in some direction in America and we'll hit a stupid cunt. Listen, do that anywhere. You know what I mean? I'd like to see how many people in Scotland know that the World Series is going on when it does, And so, but aye, to me it's America. I don't know what your thoughts are.
It's a good point that you bring up. I mean, the first rumor that came out was that the FIFA Exco, of which Sunil Gulati, who's the president of U.S. Soccer, is a member of, they had selected America, the United States, as sort of a standby country, like get ready for when we pull the plug. And my first reaction was, no, please don't make it America. Because it's sort of the obvious choice. I mean, and I don't mean to say that from an arrogant perspective. I mean, like, we have all the infrastructure already, no matter what. I mean, we have the airports, we have the trains, we have the public transit, we have the stadiums, we have all sorts of stadiums. And by the way, as opposed to back in 1994, when, many of the stadiums were AstroTurf or Next Turf or whatever it is, they're all grass pitches now. So that's never going to be an issue. And by the way, they're not just located in the southern United States, cities like Atlanta, Dallas, Miami, where, the temperatures in June are going to exceed 30 to 35 degrees, but also through the northern tier, cities like Chicago, Minneapolis is on their way to getting a natural turf field. St. Louis is an absolutely, it's a soccer mad city. And in spite of the fact that they don't have an MLS team, but, there's all sorts of opportunities. We're ready to go. You could tell us a week in advance and we'd host a World Cup and it'd be absolutely brilliant. But I felt like, we already had the World Cup, and it should go to somebody else, and should go to another place that's more deserving. But you're right. In '94, this country definitely was not ready. I didn't know anything about soccer other than what I knew from playing it as an 8 or 9 year old. I didn't know any of the steady. But it is a great point. I mean, 20 years on, this country is so much more mature with regard to our appreciation and our understanding of the game and the excitement. I mean, you go into any bar over the past 2 days throughout the evening, and as you mentioned, the time zone between us and Brazil is absolutely ideal. The bars are packed and they're filled with people who are wearing USA jerseys or jerseys from countries where their ancestors are from, et cetera, and they're all much more well versed on the game than even 4 years ago, which is just it fills me with pride, and it's exciting to see. So to see the U.S. get another World Cup and to have it in a time when, God willing, hopefully I'll have an 8-year-old son at that time. That'd be absolutely amazing. I could take my son to World Cup games. But I'll tell you this, I'm going to stick with my preference and say that I'd rather Australia get it. And here's my rationale. I mean, I know that the time difference is going to be just the worst for everybody on the planet. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be bad for you. It's going to be absolutely awful for us. But they put together what I thought was a very good bid, a very strong bid. They do have the infrastructure. They do have a sort of burgeoning soccer, football related. I mean, obviously they call it soccer there, so soccer aware culture there. They're getting their league up and running. They're getting some big names. Obviously similar to the MLS where they're going to be on the tail end of their careers, but they're getting big names to go over there and play. The visibility is rising, and I'd like to see them get it. I think Australia is a fantastic country with fantastic people. They put together, in my opinion, a fantastic Olympics 14 years ago. So, I mean, I would love to see them get it, but you bring up a strong point with regard to America. This is a very different America than in 1994, and it's going to certainly be a much different America in 2022. So, have to see. Next topic. We talked a little bit about the readiness of Brazil in past episodes, and another issue that's popped up this past week, Manaus, where England is playing, I believe, as well as the U.S. It's called Amazonia, which I think is the next record album title from Outkast. But be that as it may, the pitch there is absolutely atrocious. I mean, you see pictures on television where they have these brown stripes, which you can call it discolored grass all you want. I've seen shitty grass before, and that's dirt. I mean, every 10 yards there's a strip of dirt, in between, sort of halfway grown in grass, and they're contemplating spray painting it green, so that at least it looks good. Is this going to have an effect on the games that are being played there?
Yeah, I mean, I actually saw these pictures, and it reminded me the scene to Bowling for Columbine when Michael Moore goes back to Flint, Michigan, and you just see the old sports track, and it's completely fucked.
Yeah,
and you just think that's fine. That's a city that's been ignored for years by the government, whoever. And then you're thinking, this is a World Cup. Like you kind of think you'd have had the pitch ready by now.
They had 10 years to prepare.
Yeah, and it just defies belief. You can't possibly sit here and say, what possible excuse could you have? You know what I mean? In terms of in fact of the games, it's difficult to say. I mean, clearly, England playing there, Italy, whatever, the USA. I mean, these guys are obviously all going to be used to playing on top with the best pitches that the world can offer, and so on and so forth. But again, I think it goes back to the whole infrastructure. It goes back to were Brazil ready, and it goes back to once again FIFA just thinking like let's just see how much money we can make, and to hell with the kind of consequences of it, because you've already got. I mean, we talked about it a couple of shows ago. I mean, Brazil, for people who didn't actually realise, is so big that if Scotland was the top of it, Saudi Arabia would be the bottom of it.
It's the size of America, geographically.
Yeah. And it's the other stat that came out the World Cup show was the fact that if you were to fly from London to Rio, you'd actually fly over more of Brazil than you would of the Atlantic Ocean. I mean, it's enormous, and so and it also said. I mean, here's a stat for. I mean, they reckon that if I went for this country and was following Italy, who you could maybe expect to get to the quarters or semi-final, they reckon that it would cost me, for that trip, that 2-3 week thing, mate, it would cost me at least £7,500.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, so it's just like, what the and fair play, because, I mean, when a wee bit of tangent, I mean, fair play to the Croatia fans that are doing there.
Yeah.
And obviously Chile had a great support, understandable given the geographic location, but sure. Jesus Christ, I mean, it's like Croatia's not exactly round the corner for Brazil. They've got huge support, so fair play to anybody that's waiting down there. And no doubt when we see England tomorrow, you'll see all the usual banners where they come from all these obscure places like Woking and Barrow and Furness and all that kind of thing on their thing. But it just sort of stinks of the fact that, again, the fans in Brazil do they seem to be getting cared for, hence a lot of the seats being empty, and the fans outside that, they seem to have been had any consideration whatsoever.
It's no wonder they're rioting. It's no wonder that they're picketing and protesting.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I don't know if you saw it, but we actually saw it where ITV Studio was attacked live on air.
Yeah.
And obviously they were just trying to find Ian Wright and beat him up, but
seems reasonable.
Aye. So, but it's like you just wonder, and I'm sure it'll come out, how much the press are covering up just how much feeling of discontent there is down there.
Well, and I think that, that's a great point that you bring up there. I mean, certainly it's not going to be all bad. I mean, there's going to be super rich, super nice areas of Brazil, and that's where the press and the players are going to be exposed to the most. This is all choreographed and it's all managed so that, there's going to be as little exposure to sort of the discontented masses and that element as much as possible. But you're right. I mean, there isn't, in spite of the fact that they are covering and they are, bringing out the protests that are there. It's almost to the fact that they can't hide from the protests. The protests are everywhere. So, I mean, to completely ignore it would be to, completely ripping out whatever credibility they would even have left. But, you're right. I mean, there is an element that within Brazil that, is being oppressed. And the amount of waste that has gone into creating this World Cup is atrocious when you think about, the fact that people aren't having the resources for proper education, for proper healthcare. I'd be livid too. And it comes down to the greed that's within FIFA. Now, getting back to the pitch at Manaus, I touched on the fact that there was a building that was not approved by a fire code, earlier tonight. I mean, if one of those stands, God forbid, were to collapse, think about it. That's FIFA done. It's absolutely, it's shocking. It's atrocious that FIFA would put. Essentially, you have to assume that they're putting people in harm's way. I don't understand how there's not more of an outcry about this. There was comments during the game that, the fire department didn't give their approval to the stadium, and the game just goes on. It's like, are you serious? There's thousands of people that are in harm's way potentially right now, and nobody seems to give a toss. But getting back to the sort of footballing element, America's going to play there against Portugal in their second game. Talking about Manaus again, Amazonia. I think this is a huge advantage for America. And I think that, the American players generally are more, you talk about players at this level are accustomed to playing on, just absolutely perfect surfaces. I think Americans, growing up and learning the game here, many of these players grew up on surfaces that were just garbage, that were, just heaps of weeds, so on and so forth. And the American game is more based out of power, physicality, and athleticism rather than, sort of technical ability and skill. We're going to have our moments of gain off of set pieces, off of dead ball situations, and going up against Cristiano Ronaldo, who is admittedly and quite visibly dealing with some knee issues where he relies on having the ball on the ground for a large portion of the time, and especially in this Portugal setup where so much of the build-up, so much of the creation comes through him down that left-hand side. To have not a very disperfect or unperfect pitch, whatever you want to call it, I think is a huge advantage for America. And from my own selfish desires, I hope it does have an effect on him, and I think it will. Next topic: Netherlands 5, Spain 1. Paul, is this the end of Spain's dominance?
Well, I didn't want to blow my own trumpet, but on another podcast, I did say I think there's a real big chance that Spain could have been the France of 2002 in terms of their kind of collapse.
Yeah.
Tonight it was just they go a goal up, everything looks fine, and then they're undone by one of the best goals you'll ever see in football. For Robin van Persie. The pass, the technique that he uses to get at, the fact that Casillas is standing there like a statue in no man's land, it was beautiful to watch. And let's face it, Van Persie and Robin and Danny Blind particularly absolutely tore that Spain defence to pieces.
No question.
And you've got guys like Xavi and Iniesta, they just could not keep up.
No.
They really just could not keep up. And you know what? It is kind of sad, because these are top football players, they're top ambassadors for the game. We have witnessed these players playing some of the best football that any of us will ever likely to see. But it's incredible when you look at just how ruthless Holland were. Clearly 4 years sitting, waiting for their chance, and then it comes. And then you look at the fact that, Robin's only 30, Van Persie's only 30.
Yeah.
And then, Spain, what's the answer to try and rectify it? We'll bring on Fernando Torres. He's had about 2 good games in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And we could well be witnessing the death of the Spain team, because to me the key point was Del Bosque. He looked shell-shocked.
He did.
He did not. I don't think he saw that coming, Graham. And, I hope I'm wrong. I hope they make a fist of it. But, because, I don't think the standard in the other game was too great. So, they could still easily beat the other two teams in the group. But, Jesus Christ, that was an absolute gubbin,
obviously it's early doors. It's their first game. You can look back to the 2010 World Cup and say, yes, they fell, I believe, in their first game against Switzerland. But there's an ocean between that game where they obviously, they fell flat on their face with a lot of those same players that you pointed out were in their peak. There's a huge difference between that and 5-1. 5-1 against, one of your rivals. I mean, the team that you went up against, you'd think you'd be up for it. The team that you went up against in the previous World Cup final, and they absolutely looked, I mean, just without a clue, and without any sort of determination. I thought that Holland, or the Netherlands, as you pointed out, it was clear they've been thinking about this, and they had this date circled on their calendar ever since the groups were picked. They've been thinking about, that loss, and it stuck with them. And they were by far the more motivated team. They were first to every ball. They were more energized, and Spain was just left looking for answers. I mean, the first maybe 20 to 30 minutes, David Silva was absolutely immense. He was everywhere. They got the penalty, which I thought was never a penalty. I mean, they were extremely fortunate to get that.
Absolutely never a penalty.
And then after they get the penalty, it was like, they just completely switched off. And I don't know if it was, them just feeling like, all right, well, they'll just sort of coast through, get their goals, et cetera, or, if it was one of these like, okay, now what do we do? But be that as it may, this Netherlands side, I mean, they are not to be overlooked, and I think that a lot of people have overlooked them. I think that Van Gaal has instilled, a form of connectedness within the side, and if they can maintain this energy level and they can maintain this enthusiasm throughout, this is going to be an extremely formidable side going up against anybody. I was questionable about their resources, especially at the back and down the flanks. They were absolutely just immense all night. Spain had absolutely zero buildup, and most of the play was in Spain's half. That makes me worried for them. I mean, especially their next game is going up against Chile. I mean, Chile's just going to press the hell out of them. So Spain can't, pick two passes together and sort of pick their heads up and get the ball into Chile's half. It's going to be a tough road to hoe. And this is a situation that Spain really haven't found themselves in too often. Think about, you bring up Del Bosque. Del Bosque is a fantastic manager, but do they have many situations where they were down and they had to pick themselves back up, and they had to these experiences of fighting back that they can draw on right now and say, right, we've been down before, we came through it. No, I mean they've been used to running ahead and staying ahead throughout. So I mean it makes me worry for them. A question of not I guess it's sort of questionable, but a surprise for me in terms of the team that Del Bosque brought is, where's Fernando Llorente at the moment? I mean considering you brought like you mentioned, Fernando Torres, who's been off the boil for, God knows how long. And Llorente's been very, very decent. I wouldn't say he's been exceptional at Juventus, but he's been very decent. He gives you something a bit different so that, late on in games when you're searching for answers, I mean, he can hold the ball up quite well. He's a finisher. He's of exceptional quality. And for me, why he's not in the side, I'll never know.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Chile, like any team in their position for the next game, they'll smell blood.
Yeah,
they'll be just looking at that defence and saying, "Listen, hey, we just go for it here," because they are absolutely falling to pieces here. And we see again, like we touched on before, Van Gaal. I mean, it's incredible the way football. When you see every viewpoint in football, 20 minutes in that game, I say, "Oh Christ Almighty, what's Man United got him for?" No, this kind of thing. And then boom,
Yeah.
And you have these excuses, pathetic in my view, about the fact that the reason Van Persie basically never tried last season because he didn't feel loved by Davy Moyes. This is a guy on $200,000 a week, a 30-year-old man, and doesn't feel loved by Davy Moyes. If he feels loved by Louis van Gaal, so he'll be brilliant next season, But at the end of the day, whatever that is, whether it's true or no, it worked. I mean, the guy was absolutely immense. And Robin was just ruthless. I mean, Robin's another one that no real time for dives all the time, etc., etc. But I think as well, I was talking to a girl, Danielle, on Twitter all night, and she was saying about how, Holland were just animals in the last tournament. I think Van Bommel actually forgot it was a football tournament at least the tournament. But
Van Bommer.
Maybe that's just in their head, and maybe they're saying, "Listen, we're actually better than that, and we can actually play." And you saw it tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, and you see some, and it's you see people like Casillas, horrendous mistakes and that kind of thing. But listen, I saw players in that Spain box getting 2 or 3 touches before lining up to shoot, and nobody's closing them down. Piqué looked like he needed to buy a ticket to get back in.
Busquets was a passenger trying to track back and cover for him as well. And I think it's time that, as sad as it is for the Spanish supporters and Barcelona supporters, I think it's time that Xavi steps aside. I mean, when you have a player like Javi Martinez on the bench that can step in there, and he's been absolutely brilliant for Bayern. You have so much depth on the bench, and I get the fact that you're trying to lean on the players that have gotten you there. Players like Torres. I mean, you have to go pretty far back to remember a time when he got Del Bosque there, but nonetheless, and especially Xavi, I think he just doesn't have it left. You can see it. He was a passenger throughout much of the game, and I think it really weighed on Busquets as well. And Casillas, for me, after that Champions League final, I thought to myself, you know what? I mean, he's got such a long track record of being of top quality performances. It's hard to be that harsh, but if he plays like he did in the Champions League final, Spain are going to have a lot of problems. And sure enough, I mean, you pointed it out, getting caught in no man's land, not once but 3 times. I mean, Casillas is just maybe Mourinho was onto something.
Yeah, I mean, listen. At that level, with 8 players, you shouldn't have the roof falling in you like that. And so, maybe it was coming. And Xavi, a great player, but it's like, he's had a chasing a few times this season. And maybe he has to really start thinking, am I actually up to this level anywhere? If he playing against the right team with the right players around him with the ball at his feet, he's going to be fantastic. But in this game now, pressing the ball, and when you've not got the ball, is so important nowadays, you know what I mean? And they just never had the strength or the fitness to actually go and chase the game high up the pitch, which was something they'd done really, really well. And, kind of like the Barcelona team became the kind of model for the Spain team, much like the Ajax team did in the 70s for the Dutch team. Yeah. And you've seen Barcelona dip this season, and we're seeing Spain dip, and it kind of might be the end of an era for them. Having said that, they've still got quality players. Yep. They'll still know out the tournament, but they've gave themselves, and as you say, I totally agree with the fact that this isn't like when they got beat for Switzerland. This was an absolute gubbin, and the Spain players tonight will be sitting in their hotel thinking, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, and you're going to start to find out the mentality of these players and what they, how much mental fortitude do they have? Are they sitting there thinking, Jesus Christ, is this it? Or are they thinking, Jesus Christ, we got to get the finger out and we're going to, absolutely pump Chile, next week? It remains to be seen. Of course, now that we slagged them for 15 minutes, they're probably going to gub Chile 4-0.
Oh, yeah, of course, if we'll come out and win 6-0, no problem at all, Because I didn't think Chile are all that either, to be honest.
Next topic is Seamus Cummins, otherwise known as iCeltic on Twitter. Is he Mr. Philadelphia?
Well, I mean, let's face it, his whole life's been like the Rocky series, because he had, he's up and coming and that kind of thing, then he has a tragedy before him and everybody thinks that's it, boom, but no, what does he do? He comes back and boom, here he comes out for the title fight again, bang, and he's in there. Kind of what we touched on right at the start of the show, Seamus is exactly the kind of person that I mean when I hear people with American accents talking about Celtic. And Seamus, as you know better than me, is just one of these guys that just eats, sleeps, breathes Celtic Football Club. Very, very passionate, enthusiastic guy. And Philadelphia is his town, he's kind of been, amongst other people, of course, one of the driving forces of Celtic getting put on the map in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And yourself, with any kind of club or any kind of thing, you need guys like that.
Absolutely.
You can't have people just sitting in the shadows saying, well, we might do something here, or check this on the internet, check that on the internet. You actually need somebody to fucking get and hang their balls out there and say, right, boom, this is what we're going to do. You need these driving forces, because I tell you, these are the things that make it happen. And these are the guys who work away in the background, doing stuff and helping people, and you become indebted to, and that you just hope get the kind of respect and credit that they deserve for these kind of things, because it can be a thankless task at times, promoting Celtic and all that kind of thing, and you have to put up with shit, this, that, and next thing. But I tell you, as I say, people like Seamus put these places on the map in terms of Celtic. So in answer to your question, Graham, yes, it probably is.
Let's see. A lanky, wee, ginger guy of Irish stock growing up in the suburbs. Analogous to Rocky. Well, maybe. I don't know. Seamus, to me, I'll echo everything that you said. I mean, he eats, sleeps, breathes, walks Celtic 24/7. I mean, we talked about Ross McCall and how, you get the sense that he talks about Celtic and tries to, bring everybody into Celtic that he comes into contact to. And that's absolutely Seamus. I mean, he never stops talking about Celtic. He never stops talking about the history. And he has this contagious love for the club and for the Republic of Ireland, and the island of Ireland. And I mean, he's faced so much trepidation and so much so many tragedies. I mean, one specific, a huge tragedy in his life, and he's overcome it, and he's a dear friend as well, and that to me, I think, it speaks volumes to what the identity of Celtic is. The fact that in his time of need, there was 10 guys on his front lawn, just asking, what can we do to help? And he's exactly the same type of person, that would just give you the shirt off his back. And I mean, with regard to Mr. Philadelphia, I mean, how many pictures does he tweet out with that beautiful family of his at Eagles games and Philadelphia Phillies games, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He's built, one of the finer Celtic supporters clubs here in the United States with the Second Street Plowboys now in Philadelphia. Fantastic bar. If you haven't been there, I mean, you owe it to yourself to go and check it out. And that really comes down to all the hard work that he's put in. And he's tremendous crack on Twitter as well. Let's not kid ourselves.
No, he is, and he, of course, he's a fantastic singer.
Yes.
He's the only guy I've ever met who defines a night out on going to places where we know he can sing. Right. I've never had anybody like that. But he introduced me to the Family Memorial in Philadelphia, which I have to say is probably still the best memorial to Irish famine I've ever seen anywhere on the planet. Yeah. It's absolutely stunning. Yeah. I would advise anybody to see it. And at Celtic on Twitter, as you say, he is great crack, and his passion and enthusiasm rubs off on people. And when his passion and enthusiasm is for Celtic and it is for Ireland, then that's no bad thing.
Not at all. Bless you. I think that's probably the first review that we've had of a Celtic social media celebrity that isn't going to bring me death threats.
Well, I mean, let's face it, the Phillies are fucking rubbish, and he can't be excused for that, and no point. But who knows? Sorry, sneezing again. With the kind of people we've talked about thus far, Emma and Shevchenko, we have to tone it down a wee bit because we could end up with some of the biggest psychopaths in the world after us. That's
true. I mean, I'm having to have inspectors and taste testers taste my food before I eat it. Especially on the heels of our comments about Shevchenko, which I'm not taking back, by the way. Speaking of Shevchenko, I mean, we have Greece playing tomorrow. Maybe Samaras can get a wee bit of action, and in the spirit of the Brazilian players, I mean, he can fall down with the ball and maybe draw a call from the referee, maybe a sympathetic referee. That's as good as we can hope for. Let's be honest.
On dangerous ground,
I'm sorry. Jesus. I'm sorry. I don't apologize.
There's a fucking tornado heading your way, I think.
Well, I mean, especially on the heels of that fantastic performance from Xabi Alonso, which apparently she rates better more than Pirlo. Or anybody, which is absolutely daft. I mean, come on.
What? Sorry, it's fucking 2:20 in the morning, and I'm like, where the fuck? You were slagging me for going from Seamus to Rocky with the big Philadelphia connection. Now you've went to Samaras to Pirlo. I mean, black hair and beard I can get. That's about the only thing connection.
So you get my point.
Yes, but I think you also get a point from Shevchenko in the shape of a chip.
Well, hopefully she sharpened it, because they can definitely be painful.
I mean, I don't know if anybody saw it, but I did catch a very sinister message towards you. So, sleep tight tonight.
Yeah, I'm not scared. The drone over my house that circles and protects me will sort out any intruders. We'll just leave it at that. Paul, how was your birthday? We mentioned on the last show that you were having some birthday festivities. We saw some pictures tweeted out. Looks like you were in good form.
Yeah, it was good.
Fantastic.
That's all I can say. I mean, it's that my birthday. Look, I've had since fucking Wednesday morning. I've had about 6 hours sleep. So
right.
That's primarily because it was in an alcoholic case for most of the time. But the people I spent away, the presents I got, Everything was absolutely fantastic. It was probably the best birthday I've ever had in my entire life.
That's great.
And that's all that really matters, hitting the big 4-0. They say life begins. Well, I tell you, if that's the case, then my life's gone fantastically, because I'll have that every single day. Probably wouldn't reach 41, but you know what a way to go. And then that's all I have to say on that.
Brilliant. All right, well, on that, I guess we should wrap it up. Any big plans for this weekend? Is it Father's Day over there? I know that you celebrate Mother's Day on a different schedule. Is it Father's Day this weekend?
It is, yes.
Oh, fantastic. Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, it is. And
you going to wish me Happy Father's Day?
Are you claiming the baby now, or are you?
Well, I guess I have to. I mean, it's either that. It's either that or move off the compound. And I can't turn back now. I'm like Christopher when I'm debating about whether or not to flip with Adriana or not. Come on, I'm getting.
Look, let's get cards on the table here. Your wife's pregnant, and I'm so happy for you and all that kind of thing. But if anybody, and I mean anybody gets you a Father's Day card on Sunday, shoot them.
I don't understand this concept. People are saying, "Oh, Happy Father's Day," and my kid hasn't even been born yet. It's a little bit weird.
It's like one time I was sitting in America and I watched the 100th birthday celebrations of Ronald Reagan. Like, the guy fucking died before he was 100.
Like 10 years ago.
Aye, it's not his birthday. He's dead. He hasn't reached 100. And so, but America is one giant Hallmark card. We all know that, you know what I mean? So, just have less, as you always say, the birthday card pish.
Birthday card pish, and pray for me as well. On Sunday, I'm going back up to Philadelphia to spend some time with my dad. We're running a 5K to raise money for prostate cancer research. So
you're running a 5K?
I know. Yeah. Well, it's going to be mostly walking, but I'm going to attempt to run. I might make it 100 yards. I don't know. So pray for me.
I could see you in one of the. You could like Dr. Strangelove in one of the wheelchairs. That's about as fucking far as you'll go. You know what I mean? I'm fucking running 5K. I mean, I tell you something else as well. See if you do run it or walk it over, don't take your iPad and tweet non-stop. Because I tell you something right now, you had the audacity for me, because I retweeted the fact that the Better Together campaign was getting used to BBC Studios to put fucking Yes campaign adverts out. Oh, who wants to read this fucking pish? This is for the man who made 1,000 tweets about what fucking pizza he was ordering the night.
Yes,
but
people
pizza out there deserve better, Graham.
Pizza is something that you enjoy while watching the football. It's the World Cup. Nobody enjoys politics when they're watching the World Cup.
Yeah. I didn't deny that. But nobody enjoys reading about it.
Right, well...
I mean, look... Listen, you're a great guy, but listen, I'm speaking on behalf of the masses here. I'm trying to keep you alive before Chib does you in.
Fine, if you don't like it, then just don't follow me.
Oh, this is a free service.
Yeah, I'll give you a refund if you don't like it.
Aye. But on that bombshell, I'm going to my bed.
Well deserved, sir. Get some sleep, get some rest, and have a fantastic weekend. And thank you to the listeners once again for joining us for the 10 in a row Celtic Show. We're 4 down. We have 6 more left to go. So we hope you're enjoying.
If any bastard puts any show on top of this show this week, I'm going to suicide bomb the fuck out of them.
Kamikaze, bitches. So with that, we'll say hail, hail, and keep the faith. And we'll talk to you soon.
You've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old past said. Boy, you got a friend in me. Yeah, you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got trouble, and I got them too. There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you. We stick together, see it through, 'cause you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Some other folks might be a little bit smarter than I am, big and stronger too. maybe, but none of them will ever love you the way I do. It's me and you, boy, and as the years go by, our friendship will never die. You're gonna see it's our destiny. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me.